Live from the Talking Joe studios,
it's Talking Joe with Chief and Chris. Hey, hey, hey.
It's Fat Albert.
No, it's the Chief. And I'm joined by you. Who are you?
I'm Christopher McLeod, a.k.a.
Oh, that's
Diagnostic
not right.
80. What
are you doing here?
Oh,
no, that is right.
You're supposed to get someone else in, were you?
Yeah, I thought I was giving you the week off.
Oh, I see. I see how it is.
Actually, you had me worried because when I was speaking to Mr. Diagnostic about 3 minutes ago saying, right, I'm ready to record, he started Skype calling me and then he just literally cut off. And he's typed a message saying, sorry, I've had a crash. I was like, holy balls,
Yes.
This guy doing a podcast while driving, that is taking it to the next level. But what he actually meant was Skype crash.
I like to really threaten other road users by setting up podcast recordings in my car on the highway.
Before I find out what you've been doing and you find out what I've been doing, I would like to quickly go to beverage for the show.
Beverage for the show, do-do-do-do-do-do. Beverage for the show, do-do-do-do-do-do. Now I am gonna go, do-do, and drink my beverage for the show.
Early doors, I like it. Because mine's getting cold. Mine's getting warm now. It's been waiting for so long.
Mine didn't even start cold, which is the problem. And I picked this up off the shelf without really looking at it too hard, and that is. I'm now regretting that decision.
Kombucha.
It may well be as bad. It's called Alice Iced Tea. Now I don't mind like a Lipton's iced tea, like a peach, something like that. But this is flavour. This is bergamot. Now I don't even know what that word is.
Oh,
you know what that word is?
Yeah, I know what it is, but I don't know what it. I'm trying to think what it tastes. Is it kind of an aniseedy taste? Do you think?
I don't know. It's BERGAMOTTE. And it has got, on the front, at a long-range distance, when I grabbed it off the shelf, it looked like ice cubes with a picture of a nice, refreshing lime. And now I'm wondering if bergamot is not lime. Let's have a go. It's in a can.
Satisfying.
Let's have a swig. Well, so far, yeah, until I taste it. Let's have a go.
Oh, good gurgle noises.
Let's look at the description before I say what I think. GB, it's a whey drink, as in W-H-E-Y.
Oh, right, okay.
It's a whey drink with tea drink and bergamot flavour. Oh, wait a minute, it's spelled bergamot here. It's only one T, no E at the end. Oh, no, I turned the camera around. It's got two different spellings.
Yeah,
oh, I see.
You've got the English and you've got whatever other language.
So, it's a whey drink with tea drink and bergamot flavour. I don't know what any of that means really, but it just tastes like a kind of iced tea, I guess, but not really an iced tea, like a warm, semi-warm tea that's supposed to be an iced tea. So there you go. What have you got?
I decided about 2 days ago that I was rather than rushing at the last minute to get something from for this particular segment, I thought, hey, that looks pretty gross. I'm going to grab that and try that instead. While we were I think we were in Walmart. Oh, I apologise, we were in Walmart. But it was a Mountain Dew drink called Pitch Black. And usually this kind of comes out, I think, around Halloween. And I'm surprised. I saw a tweet the other day that said, why don't they call it Mountain Boo? Which I thought was hilarious.
Right. But
no, I'm gonna try this. It's a soda.
All I know about Mountain Dew is I think it's 100% sugar.
Oh yeah, it's usually. I remember I used to love it as a kid because we didn't have it in the UK because of some sort of ingredients restriction or something. And the fact that it was neon green or yellow. Yeah. Anyway, I'm opening it up. Let's see if it makes any noise at all. Oh yeah, nice.
Oh nice.
It's a plastic bottle, so
okay.
Your wife wouldn't.
Wait a minute. Yeah, my wife is going to go mental. It's a plastic bottle, but how did it? Is it got like is it one of those ring pull tops?
No. It was just a fizzy snap as I tore the plastic twisty cap off. So here we go. That's actually pretty nice. It's definitely it's Mountain Dew with a bit of grape or like interesting fruit choices. They're really nice. That's like Mountain Dew, but like nice. You know, like I used to like it as a kid, but it is pure sugar. This is too, but this isn't bad. I'm impressed. Very nice, very tasty. Let's move on.
Good. Yes. What have you been up to this week?
Other than going to Walmart to buy my beverage for the show, I have been, I was busy months ago, a while ago, making music with Word Burglar, the amazing rapper that has done so many different amazing nerdy albums over the years, including Welcome to Cobra Island, which is one of the best G.I. Joe rap albums, probably the best G.I. Joe rap album of all time, in fact probably the only one. And basically I got to work with him on his latest album, which is out today, which obviously when this goes out it'll be next week, so last week. It was out Tuesday last week. And yeah, I should have thought about this and probably put some sort of promotion on the last episode we did, but I didn't think about that. In any case, I've been excited to promote that all day long. It's out today, Tuesday the 27th, and you can download it from propsdepartment.bandcamp.com. That's propsdept.bandcamp.com. And yeah, it's basically an amazing album. I've contributed 3 tracks to it, 3 beats, and yeah, they're going down an absolute storm. They're Transformers related. One of them's Visionaries related, and the other one is Star Wars related. But the beat is from a different property, and I'll leave it up to the listeners to decide.
I'm going to check that out after the show.
Well, I hope you do. It's an amazing album. Word Burglar is an incredible rapper, and we did an episode of the News Burst as well, where we basically take the album completely apart and talk about it, and he gives us like inside information on all of the way he made the music and the way he came up with the stories and stuff. It's really, really cool. So check that out as well. Anyway, that's what I've been up to. I won't take any more of your time. What have you been up to?
Doing a lot of cooking this week.
Nice.
It was
not throwing it on the floor in the kitchen this time.
Yeah. It was the kid's 4th birthday on Sunday.
Happy. Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
So we had a little party, and the missus had a new cookbook, so I decided to make some stuff out of it. It's a vegetarian cookbook.
It's not plastic, is it?
It's not plastic.
Okay,
no.
Just checking.
So I made herby potato dumplings in a butter and walnut sauce.
You had me at hello.
Yes. I made a bean.
I
made a bean. No, I made Scotch eggs, but I don't know. Are Scotch eggs a things in the States?
They are understanding it now, I believe. Yes.
Okay, so a standard Scotch egg would be hard-boiled egg, wrapped in sausage meat, and then wrapped or coated in a breadcrumb coating. But this, as it is vegetarian ones, instead of sausage meat, I used a mixture of kidney beans and carrots and onion for
nice.
that. And then the other thing I made was harissa and honey and orange roast parsnips.
Amazing.
Which
I love
very
parsnips.
Nice.
Parsnips are the shiz.
Yeah, they are the one. And then I made spinach and sweet potato fritters. They kind of look like onion bhajis.
Lovely stuff.
Lovely stuff. Not my words, Michael. The words of Shakin' Stevens.
They were nice. And then I made a courgette, orange and almond cake.
That sounds amazing. You just made me really sodding hungry.
Yeah, and then my missus made a My Little Pony birthday cake. I'll put some pictures up online, actually. Why not? Let's put some pictures up of the wonderful food we had at the birthday party. So that's what
which pony was it?
She had Twilight on top.
Oh.
Twilight Sparkle. But it was kind of like a 3-tier layered cake with a pink chocolate dripping down the side. But you'll see the pictures.
Holla back.
Holla back, youngin'. Holla back. Holla back, youngin'. Holla back.
There you go. It was all good. And then the only other thing I've been doing is trying to get to the end of this Horizon Zero Dawn on PS4.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that last week.
Because I'm tired of open world games. I've said it before that I'm not a massive fan of open world games because I just want to be told what to do and where to go and not be able to explore, because I find that I just sink. It's a time sink. I look at it and it's like, oh, it's 60 hours in and I'm about 50% through the storyline. So I just want to get to the end. So all I'm doing now is just doing main quest stuff, because I'm looking over my shelf over here in the loft and I'm seeing Super Probotector on the SNES.
Nice.
Although that was called something different, I think. Was it Contra something?
Yeah.
Contra 3, maybe?
Played it yesterday.
Did
Contra
you?
3, yes.
Okay.
It's one of the hardest games in the bloody universe.
Yeah, it was Super Probotector in the UK, so I might swing that up this week. And then I did mention I think I'm gonna try Desert Strike, Jungle Strike and Urban Strike on the Mega Drive.
Oh, I should mention as well, talking about Word Burglar, that I failed to confirm, but it was Narc, the track he made.
Yes, it was.
Spent the summer perfecting my thumb muscles on a steady diet of lime pop and some ruffles. The combo that take me to the top of cleaning up the streets with 2 insane cops. Wage a war on drugs, I'll see you bet, with the right amount of chip grease and sweat. 1 TV set and a goal to die for. Get the first Narc Nintendo Power High score.
Yeah, it's an absolute banger. And he basically got the high score back when he was a kid, and he wrote into one of the Nintendo Power magazine, I think it was.
Yep.
And they published his high score in there for Narc. So yeah, awesome.
Wicked. And then the only other game I'm going to try is Road Rash 2.
Man.
Well, it was a Genesis game, but yeah.
I love old school gaming so much.
Yeah, it's quality. But yeah, that's what I've been doing and what I'm planning to do for this coming week. So I'm feeling good. You're feeling good. The listeners are feeling good because they're listening to the show. So it can only mean one thing. We got to go
Inside Chief's mind.
What has been grinding my gears? Getting my goat. That's another British. Getting my goat. That is a British colloquialism, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
I could save that for later in the show, but I'm not going to because I've got another one. What has been getting on my wick? Oh, there's another one. What's been getting on my John Wick? People.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. People who put stuff in my bin.
Oh, that's annoying.
Like, not my house bin. It's not like people are coming in off the street and putting stuff in my house bin. That would probably annoy me. What I'm talking about is the big wheelie bin that is outside. What we started doing is keeping the wheelie bin in the garden and only wheeling it out the night before the rubbish man or the garbage man is coming to collect it.
Who can take your trash out? Stomp it down for you. Shake the plastic bag and do the twisty thingy too. The garbage man. Oh, the garbage man can.
So now we just put it out on a Sunday night, so it limits the amount of passers-by who have got their, empty can of Mountain Dew, and just opening up my bin and chucking it in.
Oh, dog filling in a bag.
Filling it up. I mean, look, okay, fine. If my bin's half full and you want to chuck something in that goes in that bin, because we've got 4 different bins. We got a plastics and...
I bet that's empty.
Plastics, yeah. No, seriously, it's gone. We have 2 of them. It's gone down to 1 now. Plastics and metal bin.
Oh, right, yeah. Same.
A paper and card bin.
Same.
A food bin.
Yep.
And a general rubbish bin.
Do you have like garden waste?
You have to pay extra for a garden waste bin.
Ah, okay.
So no, but yeah, okay. Look, if my bin is half full and it's on the street and you've got a can and it's the plastic one, put it in. Okay, fine. But don't A, put it in if it's going to make the bin overflow, or B, put the wrong thing in the wrong bin.
Yeah, agreed.
Annoys me.
Because I mean, you're not going to know if someone's thrown their trash in there half the time. But if, like you say, if they put it in the wrong bin, you. And also, if they're kind of like jamming loads of stuff in, like you say, like when the lid won't close, also you.
Yeah, there you go. That's what's happening inside my mind this week. But I do want to talk about comics.
Comic talk, oh, comic talk. Larry Hammer writes them, Chief and Chris discuss them, whoa. Comic talk, oh, comic talk. Larry Hammer writes them, Chief and Chris discuss them, whoa.
So, if you will recount, last week we started off the war in Trucio Abysmia, in Benzine, which was the capital, isn't it? And
I guess.
we're now, I guess it might as well be. We're now continuing this storyline with the following 4 issues, 112 to 115, which will wrap up this storyline. And let's get to the covers. 112, this is a Lee Weeks cover, and it is a helicopter coming in over a silhouetted figure. At this moment in time, we don't know who it is, but we can kind of guess from the previous issue, kind of. And the tagline on the front is, "In this issue, ninja fighting, the war continues, and the body count rises."
Isn't that Coolbreeze on the cover?
That is Coolbreeze, yes.
Just checking,
Yeah.
because I've never noticed, and I've never given it any thought. This is one of those covers that, it's cool and all, it's okay, but I've just really, just kind of like, if you showed me that without the G.I. Joe stuff on it, like take everything off that cover that intimate or that shows you that
Intimates,
it could be G.I. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm intimates, and and I wouldn't be able to tell you what it was until just then. I'm like, who is? Oh yeah, it's Coolbreeze. Anyway, carry on.
That's actually, I think, when we read through it, there might even be a panel from the comic. But
yeah.
The next one is 113, and this is, you've got Tunnel Rat kind of facing forward, pointing his gun at the reader. Then you've got Roadblock, and you've got Muskrat, and an Alley Viper's kind of ducking, or 2 Alley Vipers actually. You didn't spot that second one down low. Hiding around the corner, this is Andy Kubert. I like the imagery, but something about it is just a little bit off. I think potentially the colouring maybe, or the fact that they all seem a little bit disparate. Like they seem to be separate images kind of pasted together almost.
They don't necessarily strike me as their characters either. I mean, Tunnel Rat looks huge for a start.
Yeah.
And also his face looks weird. Like, that doesn't look like Tunnel Rat, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Roadblock's really kind of pale in his colour. So, like, he almost looks like he almost looks white on the cover. And Muskrat's probably the only one that I would suggest kind of looks anything like his, character. And that's because you can't see him behind the bloody gigantic machine gun.
Yeah. Although Muskrat's hat looks a little bit off as well, doesn't it? But
yeah, it kind of, he looks,
like
he actually, that, if you took that image of his head and his hat and his collar and you recoloured it brown, he'd just look like a detective. He'd look like a private eye. Yeah. Right, so we've ripped the out of that cover.
Yeah. And inside it says, "Inside, the war continues. The death of Battleforce 2000? ? Yes, spoilers. Issue 114. This has got rock and roll on the front, Dusty in the background, and introducing Metalhead. Well, although that is not Metalhead, that's actually Salvo. Yeah.
Yeah, I find this cover quite interesting for a couple of reasons. One, they're introducing Metalhead, but not introducing Metalhead on the cover. And also, because obviously of the time that this came out, I'm thinking we must be into 91 now, right?
This is July 1991.
Yeah, so now you've got the sound, or the Sonic Fighters rock and roll, and he has this new car. So it's the version 2 rock and roll, but then with the different colour that his Sonic Fighters version came in. So they're kind of trying to keep everyone to toy type, which is quite interesting.
Yep. And then we get the final cover is 115, and you've got a Cobra vehicle, a Cobra aircraft.
Rattler.
Is it easily identifiable as a Rattler?
Yeah, the number, and the fact that the nose cannon underneath.
Yeah, I guess. And it looks like possibly even Wild Weasel's helmet.
It definitely is 100%.
And that is firing on is that easily identifiable as a stealth?
Yeah, that's
fighter?
The Phantom X-19. Yeah, that's Slipstream and Ghost Rider sitting in the cockpit.
It is, but as we'll notice,
asps.
Slipstream gets name tagged as Dogfight a lot in this issue.
Weirdly, he starts off as Slipstream. He says Slipstream's going to be with you, and then they change it to Dogfight. I think he was like... It was almost like, I think there was a joke in there where he was getting Ghost Rider's name wrong, and Ghost Rider then gets his name wrong. But then I think whoever was doing the inking, obviously got sidetracked. We'll come to that anyway. But anyway, I will.
Anyway, so all these are written by Larry Harmer, John Statemar's on pencils, Randy Emmeline's on inks, Rick Parter's on letters, and Bob Shireen's on colours. So this, I'm going to say first of all, we were both a little bit down on this storyline last week. I personally think this second half of it is a lot better.
Yeah, it's a lot better, totally.
And it almost reads as 4 separate single stories within the war going on.
Yeah.
I think each of these can kind of hold up on their own. Maybe the first one has got a little bit of carryover, but the other 3 are all very much individuals.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have focuses on different teams in the same battle, don't you? So you have, you got your Battleforce 2000 coming in as almost like as a reinforcement kind of situation, but you've got deep recon, you've got ninja team, deep recon, and then like the heavy gunners that fight Metalhead. So there's you're right, there are like all these different kind of things going on within the same battle. Yeah, totally.
Because in this first issue here, which carries over from the other ones, like we said, like you mentioned, you've got the ninja team who have gone deep in, then you've got the recon team who are effectively supporting the ninja team's withdrawal, and then you've got the armoured team, which is actually Lady J and Flint, their crew, whoever else is with them, I can't remember, but they're the armoured team, so they're supporting the recon team's withdrawal of the ninja teams. It's almost like a chain. One of those, slips up, then the others are in trouble. And early on you see the ninja team there, very almost first page. It is first page. Snake Eyes, they're above this skylight where the Saw Viper is in this sort of watering hole in this tavern, and he's about to pop a cap in him, but Storm Shadow's like, this is going to jeopardise the mission, so look, there'll be a second chance to get him. And again, they keep painting this Saw Viper as an absolute slime bag.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Yeah, but they really do cartoon/comic book villain him up. In his evilness and his
laughing about the fact that his teammates tried to protect them when they were shooting them down and stuff, and laughing very comfortably in the face of killing innocent people.
Line them up, I'll slay them, and all that kind of jazz. Not Transformer jazz, but stuff.
Damn, and sorry, that was my jazz.
I'm a big fan of jazz, actually.
That's my jazz.
Jazz to Moonbase 2, Jazz to Moonbase 2,
Jazz to Moonbase 2, Jazz to Moonbase 2.
He was amazing. Was it Scatman Carruthers that did his voice?
I think so, yeah.
Because we interviewed Buzz Dixon, who was the writer on a lot of the cartoons, pretty much everything. Sorry, that was I wasn't assuming you didn't know. He would love it when Scatman Carruthers, when he would be on his episodes, because he would go down to the recording studio just to kind of see him and watch him do his stuff. I thought that was really, really cool. Yeah.
And so, in this issue, the main things here then are, like you identified correctly on the cover, Coolbreeze in the Chopper's sights. So we kind of got a little look at Coolbreeze last time. He's this
arrogant.
Is he young? I don't know. He's arrogant. He's a rookie on the team, but he's very weirdly dressed. He's got glasses,
cybernetic parts.
Well, it looks like he's got cyborg arms, but I'm guessing that's just weirdly coloured sleeves. He's got glasses, but then he's got some kind of scope thing on his forehead, so I don't know if he pulls that, how that's going to fit over his glasses. He's got a sword that he's carrying, and he's got a baseball cap on backwards. It's just a weird design that's very 90s.
Oh, I was going to say, he basically looks like straight out of the 90s. There's that one panel where he's running, like the lower panel, and he's grabbing his bag and he's about to run over there and say, basically kind of sacrifice himself. And he just looks mad. And those arms, it looks like he looks like he's turning into Colossus. It's so weird.
And he, like you said, they spot the night creepers on the ninja team's tail. So he's like, we introduced another couple of Joes here. We got Ambush and Recoil.
Yeah. And Recoil is not, he's coloured in a different way than his toy.
I don't know this guy. I've never seen this toy of him. I actually had Ambush for some reason, even though I stopped collecting. I actually had Ambush. I think I've still got him.
Ambush is brilliant.
Did he come with like a net?
Yeah, he had He had he had 2 pieces of material. One acted as a tent with tent pegs, and the other bit was like a camouflage, like poncho type thing.
Yeah, I think I've still got him. But was he almost like a Outback replacement, kind of?
Well, yeah, I suppose he would have been an upgrade to that aspect. I mean, he was like a jungle operations guy, so he was probably a Recondo replacement more than anything.
And what about Recoil? What's his gig? Can't really. Is he just infantry? What's his? Oh no, he's a radio. He's got radio gear. So what is he? Dial tone upgrade?
Recoil had all sorts of different things going on. He carried like a briefcase with mines in it, and he also had these crazy weapons, and at the same time a radio antenna on his backpack. So he was kind of all over the shop in terms of specialities. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, he's got some gear here which they use to jam the Night Creepers' frequencies to stop them reporting into Cobra HQ the position of the ninja team.
He was infantry, by the way.
He was infantry, right? Okay.
Long-range recon patrol, may I add?
Oh, nice. When that happens, Coolbreeze comes up with that idea, and he's like, "Yeah, cool. Give me a medal. Promote me and all this kind of stuff." But they say, well, now we're going to have to justify that jamming, so now we need to make ourselves the targets.
Yeah, so you basically just painted a massive target
on our back. Exactly. And then so he does that sacrifice thing where I'm looking at that panel now at the end of the issue where he's running, and it's just that weird pose. It looks like Mr. Fantastic or something.
It's so weird.
It's a bit stretchy.
The other panels, when you turn the page, the other panel's better where he's kind of from the front side. But again, all over the place design-wise. It's really odd.
He's got like a checker pad on his shoulder, like a chessboard.
I mean, that's just design, but it's weird, isn't it? It really is odd.
Yeah, really is a weird design. And this is where then he goes to sacrifice himself with the jammer, with the radio equipment, and this helicopter comes in, but it's actually being piloted by the ninja team, because they've managed to A, dispatch the Night Creepers, and B, also they've done away with the Saw Viper at this point, haven't they? And
yeah, they killed him off
panel.
panel. I'm surprised at that. I thought they would make a big point of doing horrible things to that guy.
Yeah, because we flash back a little bit, and the Saw Viper's escaping in a chopper, and then the ninja team effectively jump into that chopper. He's got his whatever weapon I don't know what that is. The Saw Viper. Oh, it's a saw, isn't it, of course.
Yeah.
I said that last week, didn't I? What an idiot. But he can't, they're like putting the hurt down on him in literally one panel, and the next time they come out of the chopper, Snake Eyes kind of just drops the saw and says, we got our payback. And like you, I thought they would take their time and mess him up quite bad, or at least capture him or do something like that. But maybe Larry didn't want to show it and didn't want to suggest that
an eye for an eye thing, yeah, possibly. But they could have had it so that they were going to maybe take him into, as like a prisoner, and then in the resulting struggle, he's pushed out of the helicopter or kicked out of the helicopter as he's about to kill someone else. Something where it was a justifiable self-defense thing could have been done. Yeah. But I'm surprised that they didn't really. It was done off panel. It just seems weird after they just mutilated so many characters on panel
in vicious kind of in brutal poses and brutal pages. They'd kind of glorify it and then maybe didn't want to. But
we lose another one next.
There's another one next. Well, you get first. This is where Fowd, who is the leader of the resistance, but he wants to actually overthrow the Emir of Benzine and get Cobra out. So you've kind of got three factions now.
Get your Cobra out, did you just
say?
Or
four. He wants to get his Cobra out and do things with it. So, and he kind of initially reminded me of Metz, the dude
big time
from Barovia. So initially he comes across as a man of the people, but then as the issues go by, he's kind of like, oh no, wait a minute, I'm in it for myself and power and all that kind of thing. And it's almost like a carbon copy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am, because I'm just saying this is a sweeping generalisation. But is it only Dr. Adele Burkhart who has had that long-running relationship with the Joes where, yes, she doesn't agree with them, but she's always been, like, honourable? But it seems like all these other guys they come into contact with are complete and utter holes. Whether they are for the people or not, they always seem to turn, don't they?
Yeah, I think you're right. And Burkhart's a really cool character for that reason, that she, straddles that line.
You can't prove that.
I wonder if
she straddles that lifeline.
I don't want to see that. And I wonder if this is like Larry's writing, where because the Fowd bit has only really been in kind of two issues. The previous one, I think, and this one, he's captured the armoured team, which is why they weren't there for the withdrawal of the recon team, and he's got Flint and Lady J hostage in the whatever the vehicle they were in. Not the Raider.
It was the Raider, wasn't it? I think
was
it was I don't know. I can't remember. It was
so
long ago.
Whatever vehicle they're in, and he has now. There's a panel here where he's pulling Stalker's massive 6-shooter out, so to speak. And this is where Coolbreeze sees it happening and jumps in front of the bullet, or re-angles the gun
with his cybernetic arm. And
takes one right in the chest, and then actually Snake Eyes
Uses
takes the
the
saw and blows this guy to Kingdom Come. Yeah. So was that? So the fouled bit, I thought that was actually going to, this resistance movement was going to be a big part, but no, it just all dies off there. So I don't know if Larry kind of got bored of that thing and just, let's just kill this guy off, or whether he just introduced this guy for this particular scene. Or I'm not too sure, but
I'm going to say boredom. I'm going to say boredom on this one.
Yeah, it just feels a bit unfinished. But okay, fine, that's okay. But it's not okay for Coolbreeze because he is now sucking a chest wound here, big time.
I know, and then cross country, he's told to assemble the unit for a full formation, and they do their kind of, their traditional tribute to their fallen, which is quite sad. That scene when you got all the guns dug into the ground,
we get a name check, don't we? We get Breaker, Quick Kick, Heavy Metal, Thunder, Crankcase, Crazy Legs, Doc, and then this is where Stalker says we got an 8th KIA, Coolbreeze. He was a real Joe, sir. He did his job.
Even though they hated him for ages.
Even though the whole issue, Stalker is riding him like a dog.
Same thing happened with I want to say, was it Mangler?
Yep, I've got that written in my notes as well. As much as Fouled is a carbon copy of Metz, Coolbreeze is pretty much Mangler from that Special Missions where Dusty giving him a hard time? Or
yeah,
I can't think who it was, but they were all giving him a hard time in the desert because he was the green, the rookie. And he ended up sacrificing himself so the team could get away. This is almost exactly the same thing happening here. But
well, Mangler was giving them. Well, he was giving one of them a hard time for being.
Oh yeah. He said he wasn't a real.
Lightfoot.
Who was it?
Lightfoot.
Lightfoot. Yes, your boy Lightfoot.
My boy
yes.
Lightfoot. He was dissing Lightfoot. So I don't give a shit if Mangler's dead.
But yeah. Moving on.
My boy. He's my boy, yo. Anyway, next.
Moving on. Previous agreement is issue 113, and this is where the front cover says the death of Battleforce 2000 ? And answer yes.
Yeah.
And this comprises a couple of bits. One of the main bits is Dusty and Sneekpeak are having a good old chat, and they're in the middle of a firefight in a town square, and they're reminiscing about a previous Christmas dinner where is it Dusty went to Sneekpeak's house or the other way around?
No, Dusty went to Sneekpeak's, but yeah, they really lay it on thick with the foreshadowing here, don't they?
Yeah. I actually, and this is, okay, we've seen Coolbreeze bite the dust earlier. This is much better or much more told, I think.
You feel for this character, don't you? That's the thing,
because we've seen Sneekpeak. We know he's a good guy. And when he does, the bad guys, the Alley Vipers and the Frag Vipers, they find some hostages, a woman and a kid, and they use them, they put the kid out into the town square to use as bait. So Sneekpeak goes out to try and rescue the kid. Of course he gets gunned down. Dusty doesn't want to leave the body behind. Stalker's like, you've got to leave him. If you pick him up and carry him, you're on your own. It's your responsibility. And Dusty's like, I made a promise to his mum that if anything ever happened, I would bring his body home.
We should say as well, a range viper takes him out as well.
Oh yeah, he does. It's a range viper. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I like to kind of acknowledge who does the dirty in this one.
Yeah. And then the other bit is the Battleforce. Some of the art here is John Snater. It's not his best art because I'm looking now at page 8 and 9, the first appearance of Battleforce 2000, and I don't know if he's rushed on time, but some of the faces look a bit off.
Yeah, Dodger's face and his helmet looks really weird.
It doesn't look 3D enough. It looks very flat.
A lot of over shading. So just like real flat black shading on things, which I don't think necessarily is the best look for the Joe comic. No. You look at most of the pages in this, there's a lot of this almost like reliance on thick, dark, black shading. And it really does minimise a lot of the detail. And also, you're right, it kind of kills it in the 3D aspect of it. It really kind of flattens everything, doesn't it?
It's a shame because we've seen from the previous issues, he does some great artwork. But
I
wonder if the deadline was a problem. Maybe it's the colouring, yeah. But at the top of that page there where you see Battleforce 2000, what's that kind of crazy flying vehicle? Not the one that Maverick's in, the other one on the left.
It's the Vindicator.
The Vindicator.
Which splits into, I think, 2 different parts. The Vindicator, I think, if I'm right, it's a hovercraft, and it's like 2 battle units in one. Right. And the Vindicator kind of separates, and it becomes this hovercraft thing.
So what's happening here is this is in the reserve oil storage area. So Battleforce 2000 are going through this area because they think, okay, Cobras and they're not going to know we're here because no one's foolish enough to go through this area. But what actually happens is they have been found out. There's a funny bit here where they're sneaking through, and then you get a page where the Emir, he's on he's found a telephone box, and he's giving Cobra Commander a quick call.
As you do.
To say, hey, Cobra Commander, I know where these Joes are. They're going through the oil area. Don't shoot the oil. Even though these guys are at war with each other.
I know, yeah.
And Cobra's like, okay, fine. What's your price? And he's like, 500 mil. And he goes, yeah, no dice. So then he actually says, he gets a battery of cannons, says fire for effect. But he was actually targeting the oil.
Well,
because then
you
he
can't
said,
really fire in there for effect, can you? That's one hell of an
exactly.
effect.
Then he says, you didn't give me enough money, so I ain't doing it. And then Battleforce 2000 go out in one panel. There's that on the next page, that top left panel. That is the one panel where they all die, the Badoom.
Badoom, yeah.
And then he just gives a roll call. This is Dodger in the Marauder, reporting by codename Avalanche, Blocker, Maverick, Knockdown, Blaster. They don't answer, DJ. See if you can raise them on a command net. DJ, not him too. So they all die apart from Dodger.
Crazy. I found this, for one thing, like I was not a fan of, Joe's dying. I think it's like one or two I think you've got enough characters to probably do that at a decent rate throughout your entire story arc, right? From issue 1 all the way through to 155. But when you just want to wipe teams out like that, I mean, why couldn't it just be the case where you don't show them in the comic anymore, or like they're just off panel? Why do you have to kill them? Like, I don't understand.
In one small panel at the top, that's it.
I'm not against killing characters off because obviously that's more realistic or whatever. But at the same time, I think a lot of kids invested their money and well, not their money, so their parents did, but they invested a lot into these characters. So for one of their guys to go, yes, it sucks, but to wipe out in how many issues have we had? 5, if that. Yeah. We've had like more deaths than we've ever had in the entire run up to now. Yeah. That is unreal and a little bit pointless. Yeah. But anyway, carry on.
Just wrapping up this Dusty sneak peek bit. I do like that. I was quite invested here in this because I do like that flashback where I know they lay it on thick, but then she's saying that, was it her uncle my brother was in Vietnam, and the body never came back, and that's why she says if anything happens. And then, which I'd forgotten about, Sneekpeak, he's not actually dead at this point. He kind of moves over and he's like, help. He's not even saying something like, I can hold the line while you guys escape. He's actually now saying, help me. He's a man down and he wants help. And this is where Dusty does go in, pick him up, and then by the time he gets back to base, Stretcher's like,
he's been
Dusty,
dead for hours.
This man's been dead for hours. You carried him all the way back here. And he's like, I promised.
No, I agree with you, and I think had that been the only death in this entire run, that and maybe one of the Battleforce 2000, maybe a couple of the other guys, fair enough. Like, it's a pretty hefty battle that against the odds or whatever. I understand that, but they wipe out so many characters. It just doesn't feel, and then like you don't get any for ages again. So it just seems like almost like a forced thing. Like Hasbro were like, we need these out of the comic now, Larry, or something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But and something that we kind of went past that I thought was really interesting was this one page where Roadblock and Muskrat and I think, who's the other one? Is it Lowlight? Kind of end up going to enlisted quarters.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like full of like high, really fancy equipment, gym equipment, and like it's really expensive in there. And they give the explanation that the army have to be paid loads of money to be in the army because it's like one of those countries where, most jobs will pay amazing money because there's very little people in it. And the fact that they will only work from 60 grand up in the military, even enlisted men, they were like, I haven't seen that amount of money in my lifetime, let alone a year. So, I found that quite an interesting little page, just to throwing in a bit of politics there, I think, from Larry, but interesting.
At the back of this issue, I've got an advert for current Marvel comics that you can buy, and you can get a 12-issue subscription for $12.
Wow.
And Can you name...
No.
No. Can you name... How many X-related comics do you think there are here?
Okay, well, X-Men, obviously.
Yeah.
Would Uncanny X-Men be a different one?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah, 2.
X-Force?
Yeah.
X-Man?
No, that wasn't... it was a comic, but it wasn't out yet.
Yeah, okay. X-Men, Uncanny X-Men... X-Force, not Uncanny X-Force as well.
No, that was a later title.
That was recent. That's in the 2000s, wasn't it? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
I did like that run, by the way.
Yeah,
I loved Uncanny X-Force. I thought it was great.
Yeah, good book. Rick Remender. This is X. I'll give you a couple of the characters from it, see if you can guess.
Okay.
Strong Guy, Quicksilver.
Oh, okay.
Havoc was the leader.
House of X.
Polaris.
Not a clue, mate. Not a clue.
X Factor.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Could have got that. I'm not going to count X-Men Classics because that was just reprints. There's one more. Oh, there's 2 here. It features an X-Man, but it's a single character book. There's no X in the title.
Oh, Wolverine?
Yes. And then there's one more. It is a British-based team.
Captain Britain?
No, he's on this team, though.
Oh, what are they called? No, go on. Sorry. Excalibur. Son of a... I did know that. I hate myself right now.
Right, moving on. Issue 114. This is where we do get Metalhead. And this is a kind of standardised conflict within a team. So you've got the G.I. Joe guys, and it's an armour versus infantry kind of situation, because there's this Metalhead character who's a personal anti-tank specialist. And then you've got Salvo, Rock and Roll, and Dusty, who are foot soldiers for the Joes. And then you've got Hot Seat, Steeler. Steeler's driving a pulverizer.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. Hot Seat's in the Raider.
Pulverizer's like a mini... It was a Battleforce 2000 vehicle that came out the year after the Battleforce guys came out.
The infantry guys are in the Hammer anyway. Maybe it's just Hot Seat and Steeler.
Hot Seat, Steeler. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. So, and then there's Salvo, Rock and Roll, and Dusty.
Yeah.
Because Steeler's thing gets blown up early on, and they're like, jump on board. And he goes, no, I'm riding on a real vehicle. Yeah.
He's going to ride shotgun. Yeah, it was just the 2 of them, yeah.
They're like, they come to some dragon's teeth later, don't they, the anti-tank things. We can't go over it. Oh, don't worry, the Raider can go over it. The armour guys are bragging.
Bit of hubris, I think,
yeah,
from Hot Seat on this one.
Yeah.
And Steeler for thinking they can do everything themselves and kind of constantly dissing the other guys a little bit.
Exactly. Nice to see Steeler, though.
Yeah,
he's an original.
Time.
We haven't seen him in ages. So my first thought was...
Surprised he didn't die, yeah.
My first thought was, there's a guy we haven't seen for ages. This guy's biting the bullet. But he doesn't. He survives. But thoughts on Metalhead?
Okay, well, I'm very split on Metalhead because I loved the figure when it came out. He's okay in the comic, but he is an absolute pain in the ass in the Deke cartoon. Like, he is the most annoying character ever devised. He screams all the time. He's just like...
Range 200! Target locked! Bang! I got it! Oh, see it burn! Kaboom!
You know how Zed was in the Police Academy movies?
Yep.
Give it to me! Hey, Box!
Business is slow.
Get a new business or move out of the neighborhood!
He kind of talks like that, but all the time. And it's really annoying. And he kind of...
I've never seen it, so...
Oh, I'm gonna send... In fact, I'm gonna have an audio clip of him screeching away in the background on this episode.
I say excellent, it's not going to be excellent, but yes. I kind of like the design, but he does come across as a bit of a douche. I think he's like a one-issue wonder as well. I'm not too sure he pops up again.
Do you know what? He's kind of like... Reminds me of a Cobra version of Farstraw. Farstraw was the Joe with the 2 massive missiles either side of him. And I always used to think that was a funny design. Like, he's just going to like get rocket exhaust and melt his body every time he fires those things.
Yeah, right.
But Metalhead's got like them everywhere. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting and cool design. Yeah, coming to Salvo, there's a very cool, interesting action figure as well.
Yeah, he's got some sort of handheld 5-piece RPG thing, and a gun as well. He's got a massive gun as well.
They really do hammer home some of the Joe heavy heavy weapons guys in these issues, don't they? Because in the next one we see Backblast, but we'll get to that in a second. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I thought this story had quite a nice sort of, like, cat and mouse feel to it.
Yeah, it's good pacing. I like
he's
it.
Popping up, whittling the Joes down a little bit, taking out the machinery, running them on a sort of wild goose chase kind of thing.
The only thing I don't like is the fact they're able to communicate from a massive distance apart, as in, like, they can hear what he says and he can hear what they say.
Over the
explosions, battlefield, like it's just that's the only thing that bugs me. It's like he'll say, like, I don't have to show more than my my goggles in order to fire my missiles, and then I think the guy directly responds to him. Yet Salvo, he says, you're not even going to be able to do that if you're ducking my missiles. I'm like, how does he hear him? Like, it's just it's bonkers. So I that's the only thing. But I must admit, yes, the actual pace of this particular story is great, and it's really fun to read as well.
Yeah. So I think it's probably my favourite of the issues of this run so far.
I do like the last.
Storyline.
I do like this.
So
you're right.
So far.
Yeah, you're right.
And the Dusty and Metalhead are kind of charging each other right at the end, but then there's a big ceasefire because Hot Seat over the radio has got the word that.
Why would Metalhead care? Why would he stop because Hot Seat stands up and says, no, Cobra and the Joes, it's a ceasefire. It's like, no way.
Yeah, he'd be capping them right off here.
What an opportunity for a coward guy.
And then they get the sixth panel, each one says a word. Well, I'll be hornswoggled. And that's not Hornswoggle from WWE.
No, it's not. That about says it, says Hot Seat.
That about says it. So what's actually happened here? Cobra Commander's cut a deal with the Emir of Benzine. What is that actual deal? I can't remember. Oh, you find out in the next issue.
Yeah, you do. It's basically, it's a deal in that Cobra Commander has got the Emir like by the balls, effectively.
Yeah. And then you actually get leading into future issues. You do find out this is probably the best bit of the whole storyline. You find out over 2 pages there's some Cobra troopers, some Vipers who are on Cobra Island, which we haven't seen in a while, and they are digging into the freighter, the landlocked freighter, which was landlocked no longer. Well, it is still landlocked.
They find a tunnel, don't they?
In a volcano, and they find that everyone is dead because of a bad batch of ham and lima bean sea rations, botulism. But they do find that 2 people are missing, Zartan and Billy. To be continued.
Dun, dun, dun.
We'll find out about not today, but not even next week, I don't think, maybe the week after. But yeah, then we come on to the final issue, which is the wrap-up of this storyline. And this is another self-contained issue. It's called Counting Coup. Coup as in C-O-U-P. And this is where we get it's an aerial storyline, and we get the stealth fighter with like you mentioned earlier, Ghost Rider and Slipstream, who gets called Slipstream early, but then on 2 separate occasions by 2 different people gets called Dogfight. Oh no, wait a minute. Then
no. The start it's the Sky Striker coming into play with Ace and Dogfight.
Oh, sorry, yes. Oh, maybe that's why they got it mixed up, because Dogfight was in.
Could have been, yeah.
In the issue. Yes, you're right. So, yeah, the start of the issue is the Sky Striker coming back in, like you say, but then they launch the stealth fighter, don't they?
Yeah.
With top secret orders not to be read until they were en route. And this is clearly Slipstream. It is penciled and drawn as Slipstream.
He even says it. He says, all I can tell you right now is that it's over Benzine, and Slipstream will be your backseat man.
Yeah, and then Ghost Rider even mentions, take the stick, Slipstream. And then, after he's read the orders, your turn, Slipstream. And then the next time he mentions him, I thought it was... Actually, there might be one of these no prize things, so I'll look forward to the postcards from the pit later on to see if there's a reference to this.
I think what's happened here is that Ghost Rider is taking the out of Slipstream because Slipstream doesn't know his code name.
Yep.
And I think, because it's at that point where I think he says, it's almost like he says it as in retaliation, like, I'm going to call you Dogfight because of it, kind of thing. And that's what I got from it. And then I was just waiting for it to be sorted out, and it never did. It never got sorted out. So Slipstream says he's shooting at us stealthy, and he says, can't remember my code name, can you, Dogfight? With a question mark.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking. He's saying Dogfight because it's like to say, here you go, I've forgotten your nicknames, I've forgotten your code name as well. But it keeps happening. He keeps saying we need a new course, Dogfight. And it's just like, what? So is this like a thing now? Is he calling him Dogfight as a joke, or has the inker at this stage missed the joke and is now inking it as Dogfight, or the letterer, sorry, or maybe Larry's messed up with the script and he's got confused and he's writing Dogfight now because he's written it as a joke. That's what I was thinking anyway.
Right at the end, second to last page, Hawk is there on the debrief, and Hawk actually says Dogfight and Captain Jeffries. So Hawk's got it wrong as well. I have found in issue 120 a letter. I'm going to read it out. This is from Christian Millen, 47 to 52, 44 Street, apartment, CG, Woodside, New York, 11377. Well, get a proper address, man. Dear Joes, I have recently purchased issue 115. On page 6, panel 2, General Hawk tells Captain Jeffries that Slipstream will be his backseat man, but on page 15, panel 2, Jeffries calls his backseat man Dogfight. I think that Jeffries possibly called Slipstream Dogfight on purpose, just so that he could get back at him for calling him Stealthy when Slipstream couldn't remember his actual codename. Do I get a no prize? You wouldn't believe the amount of letters we got about this same thing, Christian, so the answer goes for all of you. It was not a mistake. Note how the name Dogfight is in bold letters. This, coupled with the irony in the sentence, should leave no doubt that Jeffries knew exactly what he was saying. We are at least trying to mimic life in our books, and what is more human than to jab someone verbally at the first opportunity? But however, like I said, on the second to last page, Hawk calls him Dogfight.
I still think that...
So was Hawk having a go as well?
I think that was a mistake still. I think that was the mistake. I think, as it read, I was fully on board with him being just taking the mickey, and I was like, oh, I see what he's done there. But then as soon as it carried on, I'm like, okay, well, now he's calling him Dogfight because it's just a funny joke now. It's like their little joke between them now. Yeah. And then when it got to the end and he called him Dogfight, and I'm like, no, that's not right. That must be a mistake now.
Yeah, because Hawk wouldn't be in on the joke.
No.
So, anyway, Marvel Comics bull.
I'm glad we sorted that out, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, the deal I think that Cobra made with the Emir is he's going to pretend to leave the country and not have any armaments there, etc.
I know,
But he actually is going to, but he doesn't want control of the country, effectively.
They snap that picture, don't they, of the Firebat escaping the Terradrome.
That was actual... You're led all along to kind of believe that the Stealth was on a bombing mission, but then... It's even mentioned several times, we don't want them bombing that installation. But then the second to last or third to last page, they show the picture of the Firebat coming out of a Terradrome. And it was basically proof that Cobra is still in Benzine.
I love that picture, that page, that panel, because there's a few like lovely little touches on there. Obviously, you've got the USS Flag coffee mug with a cup of Joe in it, can I say, which I thought was quite cute. But then also, Hawk's watch has got to Clayton, love always, Roxy. I think that's really cool. Obviously, Clayton Abernathy is Hawk's file name.
And who's Roxy?
Well, I'm guessing that must be either like his wife, or it's like an old flame, or it's someone that Larry knows, and or the artist, whoever was doing the art for this particular one. Who was doing the art for this one?
I think it's John Statemer again.
Oh yes. So maybe it's something that he's added as a little thing to a friend of his, or his wife, or anything like that. So it could be anything like that, really.
This is a good one. This is a good issue. You also get another new Joe here. You actually get Rampart.
Yeah, Rampart and Backblast. But yeah, Rampart. He kind of like says Backblast takes one of the rattlers out that's on the tail of Stealth X-19.
That's it. And
I always forget the name of that thing. And
Stealthy. Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Rampart got him there in the vehicle, which is so they make a big deal of that. They're a new team and they're high-fiving because they're really good buds.
So we've just seen Salvo and Backblast. I think we've seen Backblast before though already.
We have,
maybe.
Yeah.
But he is almost identical to Salvo.
Yeah, and he's got like this. We have done Backblast before because we talked about that 3-pronged missile launcher he's got, and then Salvo turns up with 4 missiles in his launch. It's like, who's got the heavy duty turns up with that huge ridiculous box grenade launching thing as well. It's like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's like, who's got the biggest weapon?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's it for this storyline. So we've got 8 issues there that cover it all. I mean, we could break down those last few into single issues, but I'm saying let's just rank all 8 issues of one
it's-
storyline because it is a war. It's
yeah.
all one thing. So, what's your yo-joage on this?
I think it brought it down a lot last episode. I wasn't really feeling it, and then I feel like this definitely ramps it back up again. But I think overall for this arc, I'm going to give it a 7, high 7.
High 7. I think I'm going in with a low 7 for this one. And that is issues 108 to 115.
Mm-hmm.
The War in Benzene. 7s from both, high 7 and low 7. So
if it had just been these issues, I probably would have been in the 8 area.
Yeah.
Because again, there's a lot of really good stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff. There are the things that probably a low 8, but it would have definitely, it would definitely have come down to that. And I think the previous issues have just kind of damaged that a little bit for me.
I think once we got rid of the Saw Viper, because at least the people that were dying in this. I mean, I don't know how many members of Battleforce 2000 bit the dust, 6 maybe, plus we had Coolbreeze, plus we had Sneekpeak. So you've got 3 separate death incidents, but at least they were coming from different means.
Yeah.
The fact that it was one Saw Viper who killed like 8 or 7 Joes previously, it felt a bit too contrived. At least the death was spread out a bit more.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not saying I'm a death monger.
Well, no, that's the opposite. You're actually kind of you're accepting the fact there's loss in war, but you want to do it over a period of time to obviously develop characters. There are so many characters in G.I. Joe that it's hard to do that, and I can understand that. Just wiping out a whole faction of them is like, oh, thank God I don't have to worry about those anymore. Do you know what I mean? And then, ironically enough, he makes the mistake of forgetting. Larry made the mistake of forgetting that Sneekpeak was actually dead. Yeah, and had him back in the later issues of the IDW run, which is
does he? Is that I thought
hilarious?
You were joking. Right.
No. Apologies for the spoiler there, but I won't tell you how he retcons it. But that's for when we get there in like 6 episodes time.
How many are we doing per episode now?
55.
Right, okay, noted. Get ready for the next 10-hour podcast. But speaking about all new characters and vehicles and stuff, I imagine you're going to speak about some now because it's time for Chris Talks Toys.
Chris talks about toys, ho ho. Chris talks about G.I. Joe. He talks about all the things from the comic book and the animated show. Chris talks about toys. Chris talks about toys. Chris talks about toys. Chris talks about toys.
Yes, I am. Sorry for fart boxing then on you. I have decided to go for a cheeky manoeuvre here. So I always go on about that trip that I took in '89 around this time.
I've not heard that story. Go on, tell me.
I never tell anyone. Well, I'm gonna throw out a spanner in the works and a character from '89 that I did not get on that trip.
Okay.
I still mention it, obviously.
Yes.
It was sold out at the time when I was in the US, and that is the Frag Viper. So obviously in the US it came out in '89, as I said. But I bought the bugger in Sheringham in 1991 on the UK or / European carded version of the character. And the Frag Viper is one of those that I remember looking at in the store. It's one of those a little toy shop in Sheringham, probably like one of the Toy Master kind of jobs, I think, or something along those lines. Very, very small scale kind of place. And I just fell in love with it. I just looked at it and thought, wow, this thing is incredible. Amazing design. It had this weird kind of like, I'll explain what it is in a second, but from first initial viewing, I was like, what is that weapon he's got? It's like a hook that he throws grenades out of. It's amazing. So anyway, I see this figure, like I said, fell in love with it. It is a very odd design. Like the helmet is this kind of like almost insect alien type helmet. Big black eyes, silver kind of helmet. It has a plastic kind of pipe that runs from like a mouthpiece to the backpack, which I never really understood in terms of practicality. And it also has this backpack is basically a grenade feeding backpack. It has another thicker pipe coming off it that goes into it's basically a High-Lie Cesta, which is High-Lie is a game from the Basque region of Spain whereby they use these kind of like, they are like hooks, and they have this little like ball that goes inside, and they absolutely hoy it at a wall, which then deflects off the wall, and then someone else has to catch it and throw it back. So it's really dangerous sport, actually, because if that thing hits you, those balls are going at high velocity, then it could really hurt you. So anyway, crazy game. And I knew about it because obviously we had Transworld Sport back in the day. Do you remember that show?
Oh, I love Transworld Sport.
And they'd always be like interviewing a football player from like Brazil, and they'd be talking to him, and they'd have this same voice doing the translated overdub, and it'd be like, I looked up in the crowd and saw my mother, and it was at that moment that I knew that the goal had gone in. And it was like, it's always this ridiculous.
That's almost
I always
perfect.
joke about
That's
it.
almost perfect for the Transworld Sport guy.
I always
Is
joke
it you?
about
Are
it.
you the Transworld Sport guy?
I am now. I always joke about it with my buddy Ryan, because we always bring that up in conversation, and then we'll be like doing fake translations over real footballers when the audio's down. Anyway, enough of that. So I knew what Hyalai was, spelt Jaialai, Hyalai, and yeah, and honestly, watching that, I was like, what the? And then seeing this figure have that as like a weapon for lugging grenades, and it's brilliant because the pipe from the backpack plugs into that as well, so it really does give the effect. And you've got little loose grenades that plug onto the top of the backpack too. So there's a lot of cool features to this one. He's also got this kind of rifle as well, and he's this light brown deco, almost like a onesie, with then these kind of blue sash strapping all over him. Like you've got like a holster gun on one side, and I think the other one's just like, it's just like a pouch on the other side. And the straps kind of like go all over the kind of body a little bit, and then there's one on the left arm. But it's a really interesting design, freaky. It's very intimidating design, and I just absolutely love it. And obviously, in terms of, US and UK releases, because we got it in 91, as I said before, but you could also get this figure in the following year in a Woolworths exclusive 3-pack with low light, with the Slaughter's Marauders deco, the European one, and Scoop. But they did it in this kind of Woolworths exclusive 3-pack card. So it's a card back with a blister with the 3 figures on it. And you'd get sometimes you'd get different 3-packs, but the one with the Frag Viper you got low light and Scoop with. And they'd all have the same artwork. It was low light, BDSM, Snake Eyes, your favourite, and the Toxo Viper. So it would be that would be the card art. And then again, I'll put this on Twitter as well so we can all see it in its glory. But as I said, I got this single carded. So it came on that kind of red phased card back with what we got is an explosion backing, and the US had kind of reverted to that digital explosion. So it's funny how we'd go back and forth with the US on how these cards were, and how these figures were released design wise. I've always found that really interesting. And to read his file card, finally getting to the point. An integral part of the Cobra Viper fire team, the Frag Viper can toss high-explosive fragmentation grenades with all the range and accuracy of an M79 or M203 RPGL, or rocket-propelled grenade launcher, but without the noise from the muzzle blast. The secret lies in the manual hurling basket, based on the cesta used in the Basque sport of Hyalai. The Frag Viper cesta is equipped with automatic feed and variable time fuser with a cable link to the helmet's automatic rangefinder. That's what that is.
Yep, there you go.
A G.I. Joe armed with an M203 40mm grenade launcher can manage a firing rate of 5 rounds per minute, and as soon as he pops the first round, everybody and his uncle knows where he is. A Frag Viper with a 50-round magazine and automatic feeder can deliver 15 rounds per minute, and you'll never have any idea where they're coming from. Boom. And yeah, so that is my Chris Talks Toys this week for the Frag Viper. US 89, UK 91. Boom.
Good stuff. Always like that, dude. Yeah, there'll be more Chris Talks Toys next week, as always, until he runs out of toys, which I don't think is possible.
Nope.
But that can mean only one thing. It's time for
British colloquialism.
There you go. Or over-egging the pudding.
We got a pudding, we're gonna egg it. We got a pudding, we're gonna over-egg it. We got a pudding, we got no criticisms. That means it's time for some British colloquialism.
Finely tuned machine, isn't it, this show? We always know what's coming.
I've got to leave that in. That was brilliant.
Yeah,
it was
you
like
can leave that in.
Like you completely errored you went robot on us for a second there.
Yeah. And what you've done there a little bit is not massively, but you've actually done one of my British colloquialisms. Is you have been taking the piss, and that is my British colloquialism, taking the piss.
I'm gonna have to not bleep that. aren't I?
You're going to have to not bleep this one. So apologies if you are a minor.
This is an explicit episode.
I
because
think
you
can say piss, though, can't you? Is that a swear word?
Well, it depends.
I don't know. I don't think it is.
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like I think it's hard. More. I think it's harder than bloody, which isn't a swear word, but softer than obviously.
Yeah, but in the States, like in the UK, damn is not a swear word. But isn't that a swear word in the States, or am I just making that up?
I think you're making that up. I don't know.
So
I think people say damn. I think people don't say god damn because it's blasphemous. But who gives a right?
Yeah.
I would have to say that it's difficult to say. It's whatever. I mean, some people could take offence to it if their kids are listening and they hear a piss and then the kid starts repeating it. That could be where there's a problem. But I'm not going to bleep that.
Anyway, so yes, taking the piss. So that I've got no idea on the origins of this. I don't look any of that origin stuff up. Chris does because he's a better at research than me. But basically, it just means if you're sarcastically, or another one is taking the mickey. I could have said that one instead of taking the piss. That's the potentially non-swear.
Taking the piss is a Commonwealth term meaning to take liberties at the expense of others, or to be joking or to be unreasonable. It is a shortening of the idiom taking the piss out of, which is an expression meaning to mock, tease, joke, ridicule or scoff. It is not to be confused with taking a piss, which refers to the act of urinating. Taking the mickey, Mickey Bliss, Cockney rhyming slang, taking the mick or taking the Michael is another term for making fun of someone. These terms are most widely used in the United Kingdom, Ireland, South Africa, New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah.
Origin. Take the piss may be a reference to a related and dated idiomatic expression, piss proud, which is a vulgar pun referring to the morning erections, which happen when a man awakens at the end of a dream cycle, each about 90 minutes in length throughout the night, or may be caused by a full bladder pressing upon nerves that help effect erection. This could be considered a false erection, as its origin is physiological, not sexual, so in a metaphoric sense, then someone who is piss proud would suffer from false pride, and taking the piss out of them refers to deflating the false pride, though disparagement or mockery. As knowledge of the expression's metaphoric origin became lost on users, taking the piss out of came to be synonymous with disparagement or mockery itself, with less regard to the pride of the subject.
What has just happened? What has just happened? I don't know what's going on anymore.
Piss proud, mate. You're just piss proud.
Well done for that on-the-spot research.
You're welcome.
I was just going to leave it as taking the piss, and that was it, but you've gone the extra mile.
Mate, you're taking the piss if you're going to leave it like that.
Yeah, so there you go. That's what Chris said.
I've completely forgotten what mine is. No, I haven't.
What is yours?
Mine is an interesting one because it refers to the kind of art of telling the time and the differences we have with us and the United States. Now, I've been caught out a few times where people just stare at me after they've asked, like they've talked about like asked me what the time is or whatever, and I've said,
"Can I guess?
Go on.
You've said something like it's 5:15, or
no, I've said 5:30. Or 4:30, or 3:30.
No, but everyone knows what that means, surely.
5:30, surely. No, that is not an American term.
Come on.
They'll just literally say 5:30, or they'll say, what's the other one they said the other day? It was an absolute belter, and I was just like, nah, off. In fact, I'll have to say that next episode, but I'll just double check the one they said. It was just, honestly, I was like, oh, my nan used to say the best one. I mean, this is taking the piss this is a British one, and it was 5:22. I was like, hang on, what the don't. That's so unnecessary. Yeah. I love it to death, but hell, what is that about?
Just add them numbers up. Just add that 5 and that 20 up.
It's 5, 6, 3.5 and 6/20 too. What?
Yeah, don't you know that? Come on. Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
Okay, so your one is literally just
5:30, mate.
5:30. It's 5:30. So I'm looking at the clock now. Okay, when we started recording, I think it was 8:30.
8:30
for me, and it would have been 2:30 for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there you go. There'll be more of that sort of stuff next week. So if that's what you're into, join us at around the 1 hour 10 mark next week, and you'll be or the 70-minute mark or the Not quite past the 2:30 mark. I don't know, whatever. Just listen to the whole show next week.
Mark.
Yeah, the 5:22 mark, and that's where your British colloquialisms, the pudding will be egged. Baby.
We need to do that. We need to put it in like a position that makes hilarious timekeeping.
Yeah. Hilarious for me and you.
Yeah, no one else.
No. We're going to close the show out with
Chief asked Chris a question. Chief asked Chris a question. What'll he say? What'll he do when Chief asks Chris a question?
You bet you still haven't thought of one, have you?
No, I haven't. So you are going to have to edit this, because that was my whole job, was basically I didn't have a question, and I thought, don't worry, during the course of the show, especially when Chris is talking toys and I don't actually have to say anything, I can just listen and then come up with a question. I didn't actually come up with a question. Oh, I'll tell you what, I have got a question.
Yeah, go on then.
Because I was actually going to talk about this at the beginning of the show, and I forgot. So I will ask you a question. It's a little bit different than normal questions, which are generally pop culture or food related. But with the news this week, the big news, if you're into NFL, of the retirement of Andrew Luck.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Again, this is now
it's been all
old
over
news.
This
is old news because we are recording a week in the future. Oh, which is now your past if you're listening to this, so you better go back in time. Back
funny,
in time.
I'm wearing Marty McFly's hat, and I'll prove it by taking a picture. I've actually taken it off to actually put my headphones on, but I'm taking a picture as we speak now with the mic and the hat and everything in shot.
Proves nothing, but anyway.
Well, it does, because I'm sending it now at this moment in time to you.
Oh, look, I've got.
So you'll know. Are you ready? I'm wearing Marty McFly's hat on top of my headphones.
There he is, Mother's golden boy. Yes, it is a Marty McFly hat. I'll give it to you.
I just thought that was like a nice. That seems to happen a lot when we do recordings. Like the grapefruit scenario. Do you remember the grapefruit scenario?
I do.
Of 86.
Anyway, my question is, how will the Colts fare this season without Andrew Luck?
Same way they fare every season.
Well, I don't know. I thought they.
Actually, they'll be worse now. But you're not. Like, I was taking the piss. But I was just taking the piss, mate. I can say that so much now and not have to bleep it. I would say they're probably going to struggle because he was the difference, I think, personally, in that team. And I also think since they got rid of MC Neat as well, they've had difficulties. And I will play DJ Luck and MC Neat in the background so that
I would be
at least
if you didn't.
We know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yes, I actually fancied them. I'd already stuck a tenner on to win the Super Bowl. Now I will not get that tenner back. Yeah. I think they're like 5th or 6th favourites.
Do you know what? I would have put money on the Kansas City Chiefs had all of the players not, gone around killing kids and beating their wives and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, domestic abusers. Yeah.
I think if they'd have kept Hill and I think they still have Hill, but if they'd have kept Hunt and Hill kind of like in the way they were playing, they'd have been unstoppable. They just had to sort their defense out.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
We think the Colts will struggle. Well, I actually think they can still win that division because that division is a bunch of bag and knackers, really. Tennessee, Jacksonville, and Houston. I'm not really convinced by any of them. I think they can. 8-8 could win that division. But I think they can win that division, but then they're going to struggle.
They're not doing anything, though, are they?
Quarterback,
really.
They've got Jacoby Brissett, who was a cast-off. I mean, he was part of Belichick's Pats, I think, a couple of years ago, but he never really played. Then I think he played a bit for the Colts when Luck got injured last time, but I don't really know.
Have you seen that video of Luck getting hit by loads of sacks and him mic'd up and just kind of saying things like, "Oh, good hit." Being really nice and polite. Have you seen that video?
No.
It is brilliant. I'll see if I can find it for you. But it's basically him just getting absolutely slammed but just by defensive ends, basically. Right. And he's every time he's just apparently he's the nicest guy in American football.
Oh, nice hit, man. Nice job, boy. Good job, big boy. Little help. Ah, big strong man, nice. Yeah. All right, nice play, buddy. Good job, buddy.
He comes across as a really nice guy, and it was unfortunate that they finally had an offensive line where he was not going to get sacked as much. And apparently, in his last preseason game, or the preseason game for which he retired, the home fans were booing him. Absolute disgrace.
It's horrible, that is.
Scumbags. But anyway,
that's why I don't really want him to do well for that reason alone. Because it's not. He has. It's his life, guys. Just because. You've got nothing going on in yours, basically.
Yeah.
other than a sports team, just off. Sorry, I got really angry there.
There you go. So we think the Indianapolis Colts might do enough to stay in that division, but they will not go any further than that. And that was my poorly ad hoc question for Chris. I'm making a pledge for next week to have a better question, or not a better question.
I don't mind if it's sports related. I love sports.
But maybe I'll have taken the time to come up with a question prior to the show rather than just kind of making it up on the spot.
It's more fun. It's more spontaneous.
Okay. All right. We have semied. We have. Let me start again. We've got the semblance of a plan. I was going to say we've got a semi-plan. We've got a semblance of a plan for upcoming episodes. Please do join us next week when we'll be covering. It's just a triple whammy next week. So we've got 116, 117, 118, which is Destro Search Destroy. It's a 3-part Destro storyline. And then following that, the following week we will have just a single issue to cover, which is 119, because we're going to have bookend that show with the awards ceremony for the 1989 and 1990. We'll be covering all the main categories to dish out the big Golden Joes for that. And then after that, I think we're going to be doing 120 to 123 as a 4-parter. We're also hoping to get fabulous Mr. Andrew Wildman onto the show, because this is the start of his run. Whether he comes on to discuss the issues or we just have a breakdown of his time on Joe, that would be great. And so that is what's coming up in the future of Talking Joe. So stick with us. You can find us in all the usual places. TalkingJoeComics@gmail.com if you want to get in touch. Talking Joe Comics on Instagram. Talking_Joe on Twitter, and Talking Joe, a G.I. Joe podcast on Facebook. In fact, you posted a good article on the Facebook group about some Tony Salmon's black and white art.
Yeah, which
cool.
had me kind of changing my mind a little bit, and looking at it from a different perspective. Yes.
Yeah. So go on the Facebook group. Ask to join up.
Good friend of Tim Finn, by the way. He's the one that did the article. Really, he's putting together a G.I. Joe book that would once it comes out will be amazing, covering. Cool. Like the history of G.I. Joe. All right,
yeah, good stuff. Go there and check it out. But if people want to get hold of you can get hold of me if you want on Chiefy2 Shoes on Twitter. That's Chiefy2 Shoes. If people want to get hold of you, where can they get hold of you?
You can find me hiding behind a little corner like an alley viper away from Roadblock.
Facts.
Muskrat and Tunnel Rat. No, you can find me as Diagnostic 80. That's DIAGNOSTIK 80 on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also follow the Full Force podcast on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Podbean, iTunes and Stitcher and Patreon. We have a Patreon, so give us money because we're amazing.
Do it. And with all that said and done, we will catch you down the road.
Bye.